Happy New Year! Hey, I thought I'd start off this year with a video just to share some of my reflections of what we've been through this past year and what's ahead. And I talk to pastors every single day, and I know that some of you are going through it. Some of you have lost more than you ever imagined or are wondering how your church is going to recover. Some of you have just felt like you're in a holding pattern until things can get back to normal, whatever normal is. And then some of you are just forging ahead, seizing the opportunity during this time. You know, it reminds me in Judges 6, we read the story of Gideon, and the angel of the Lord appears to Gideon and says, "Mighty warrior, the Lord is with you." And Gideon says, "Let me ask you a question. If that's the case, if the Lord is with me, then why are all of these things happening to me?" And I think we can all seriously ask that question. If the Lord is with us, and we know that the Lord is with us, why are all of these things happening to us? As one pastor I watched a couple weeks ago said, you know, we were praying for a shift, and things have shifted. And I think some of us have kind of felt like we were in pretty deep shift this last year, pardon that expression. But when you think of Gideon, and so, you know, Gideon goes through his whole thing with his fleece, and Lord, are you really with me? Are you really, really with me? Are you really, really, really with me? And then after he has all of those assurances, God tells Gideon, you have way too many people. And so Gideon stood up and said, if you are timid or if you are afraid, you are welcome to go home. And 22,000 people got up and left. I don't know that most churches have quite those numbers, but I think we have, as pastors, we have that feeling of people that were timid or afraid. They got up and left, or they changed the channel and they went to another church. I think what's happened to us is that we've lost a lot of our Christian consumers. And that's not necessarily bad news, because once the Lord winnowed down Gideon's army, even to divide him into two groups to see how they would drink water at the stream, right? And got down to 300 people. And I don't know about you, if I was going into battle, would you rather have the 22,000 or the 300? And yet God knew with his power, he wanted the 300 that were truly committed. That's what you have right now. You have the people who are truly committed. And they may be meeting in person, they may be watching online, but the ones that you have left are the truly committed. This reminds me of a time in my own life when I was starting out at ministry, went out to a church in California. I was 25 years old and was there for about a year and a half, and our founding pastor had to resign. Our church was about 300 adults on the weekend, and something remarkable happened during that time. We lost everybody who was strongly in favor of the pastor, and we lost everybody who was strongly against the pastor. And so we ended up with about 85 people, and all of the staff left except for me. And that's not to say I didn't want to go. It's because God wouldn't let me go. And we looked at our 85 people, and what we had were 85 people that believed in the mission of the church. 85 people that were strongly committed. 85 people that were ready for a shift. So our new pastor came in. He was 30. I was 28 by then. And we began to build a little bit at a time. And the church grew over the next 12 years, by about 100 a year, till about we had 1,500 or so. And since then, I've been gone from that church now for 14 years. It's hard to believe. But there are about 3,500 on the weekend. But it took some shifting. It took some shaking. We lost a lot of good people. It wasn't the wheat and the chaff. But it took getting us down to the core. And then what do we need to rebuild? It kind of reminds me, I talk about Legos a lot. I don't want to be like the Lego church consultant, but my youngest son got this Lego set for Christmas. And it's a 3-in-1 set. which doesn't mean that you build three things simultaneously. It means you have one kit and you can build three different things. And it's interesting to me because one of the things you can build is like a pickup truck and a camper. And then the second thing you could build is more of an RV, which you don't think the transformation of that is too great. You know, because you just basically put the camper on the bed of the pickup truck and you've got an RV, right? But then also in that same kit, you can take all of those same Lego bricks and you can build a lighthouse. And so a camper and a lighthouse are very different things, but you're using the same bricks. And so now in our churches, with what we have, with this remnant of people, with this remnant of, essential ministry that we can do, a lot of things have gone by the wayside. A lot of things should stay there, by the way. If we could take all of our churches apart, Lego brick by Lego brick, what would we rebuild? Would it be a slightly different version of what we currently have, or would it be completely different? Think of yourself as a startup. Think of yourself as a church plant that has some resources and has a base. And yes, we need to mourn what we've lost, because we've lost some people that we thought we could count on. We lost some people we thought were going to be there for us. But also, we need to rejoice in what we have, because God has prepared us for what is next. And yes, we've experienced a shift. But just as Gideon defeated the Midianites in a way that he never imagined would go down that way, God has prepared you for what's next in ministry. Don't lose heart. It won't be exactly like the way it was, but it will be what God wants to have you do to accomplish the mission. Don't put all of your efforts in trying to conserve what you have. Don't put all of your efforts in trying to rebuild back to exactly what you had. If it feels like your church has been taken down to the studs, how are you going to build it in the way that's going to serve the next phase of ministry? The Lord is with you.